All right, so we're going to start with Brooke. Hi, Brooke. Great job. Really, really nice piece. I love following your Instagram. You're always coming up with really cool stuff. There's this one thing that you did where you're in your room or at a window and you're doing stuff while you're sitting, and it's really, really great. I loved your work there. Again, so the question is, could you have done the number without the prop? So we're going to talk through that. You yourself are a fantastic mover. I love watching you move. Like, you have this great upper body awareness that is just that not a lot of skaters have. You're musical, you have great musicality, you hear musical phrasing, which is fantastic. However, don't necessarily take lyrics themselves as a to-do list. That's a huge thing that I see a lot of skaters and a lot of skaters and a lot of dancers start to do. Like, don't take, like, pour yourself a cup of ambition. Don't use that too terribly literally, because then it comes off as almost like mime-esque. So, like, make sure that it's leave some things for the imagination, and you don't need to like just hammer what Dolly Parton's already saying. So again, you know phrasing, but be careful about literal choreography. One thing that you did, which was cool and which I'm pretty sure was intentional, was you did something with the brooms where they flanked you, and you did a left right sort of a thing, to where you were the one in the center and you were different from the two that were flanking you. Be careful with that when the broom is on a horizontal, because what ends up happening is that it looks uneven because you have two that are on the left side and you're the one that's on the right side, so it kind of looks like a mistake. However, when you did flip them up vertically and to where it was like a broom head and your broom head was below, or it was the other way around, it made sense. And so that's when I realized that it was intentional. But when it's flipped over like that, then sometimes it gets a little confusing. One of the things as well, like Cindy Stewart is another judge on this in this challenge, and one of her rules is to change formation. A rule of thumb is to change formation almost every 3 counts, and to keep it interesting. Otherwise, it becomes sort of like looking at this one picture for too long. So just make sure that you change up the formations, play with different shapes, different holds, different things. I like how you were holding at the end. That was pretty cool. And yeah, watch the fade out, and the overall music edit was something that had me a little bit confused. It's because you started out sleeping on the boards, and then from there, you got to work and did all that stuff, and that's cool. Like, if it was like, so I thought it was kind of like, okay, like, get up in the morning, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and then clean up the house, I guess, because you didn't really travel anywhere. But then all of a sudden you were in the street, so there was never there were street sound effects, and there was sort of like walking, and then you were brushing the side of a street, and I never really got there. I never knew how you sort of got into those street sound effects. So if you're going to put in a sound effect or put in anything like that, just make sure that it has context of how you got there, because I was a little thrown in by the street sounds. So yeah, but overall, really good job. So could you have done it without the prop? Kinda. So you used it in innovative ways, and it was really cool the way that you used it, but you could have maybe have done it without the prop. And so, like, just for next time, go ahead and try to find different ways where you're reliant on the prop, where the prop affects your skating, or where you're like leaning on it, or where you're doing different things that sort of alter the way that you skate with the prop. But yeah, so now to the scores. So for the mark of so composition, execution, and creativity. For composition, I gave you a 3. For execution, I gave you a 2.5, and for creativity, I gave you a 2. So excellent job, and keep on creating. I love following your Instagram, and I can't wait to see what else you have in store for us on the next challenge. All right, thanks, Brooke.